Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal have beaten Chelsea 4-0 in the finals of the Florida Cup in the USA. And that means now we have won 5 out of 5 games in preseason. But what a performance, lads. We've really had one of the best games against Chelsea in a very long time. Yes, we've beaten them on a couple of occasions, but this one was special. This was not about precision. This was about Arsenal getting it right. This was about Arsenal getting the patterns right, our players getting the patterns right, and players playing with a lot of enthusiasm, passion, and deliberation. This was one of the best games I've watched Arsenal play in this preseason summer. It has been very, very beautiful. We're going to be talking about a couple of things that I actually pointed out: the transitions, the passing competition, Gabriel Jesus, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka. Lots of things to get into, but before we get into it, tell me what your reaction. Talk to me in the comment section. How much of progress have you seen in this Arsenal side so far during preseason, in terms of the new signings, and also in terms of the old players, or the players we had throughout last season, developing and adding more quality? Do you feel we are really moving towards the right point? Are we moving in the right direction, or you feel, yeah, we are winning preseason, but it is only preseason, we are not actually getting any better? Talk to me in the comment section. Hit the like button for me as well. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We are very close to 56,000 subscribers. Now, I think if you want to talk about this game, the first thing you will talk about is the lineup. I think Mikel Arteta is getting closer to that, ultimate lineup that he wants as a manager. Yesterday we saw Aaron Ramsdale start in goal, but what is special is we saw Alexander Zinchenko start, make his debut, which is very, very weird. He only had 24 hours. He had signed for Arsenal 24 hours ago, and then he had his debut against Chelsea, against the big team like Chelsea. But Mikel Arteta, that is how brave he is as a manager. He doesn't care. As long as the player is good enough, he's going to give him that chance. We played a back three of Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, and Ben White, and I was buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing. I think Mikel Arteta is trying out a couple of combinations with those three centre backs. I think either Ben White will be fighting with 4 game time with Tomiyasu, but William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes could be the centre back pairing. But we played the three of them, and it actually really worked out very, very well. Alexander Zinchenko was playing at left back, but literally deployed as a midfielder, as inverted, as an inverted left back. Xhaka played alongside Thomas Partey in that midfield pivot. Odegaard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and of course the man himself, Bukayo Saka, started for Arsenal. And you could argue that is the lineup that Mikel Arteta is going to be using more predominantly in the season, probably in the Premier League, in the Europa League as well. I don't think, I think Tomiyasu is the only player that I would think about there, and I would go like, yeah, Tomiyasu didn't start, and he deserved to start in that night. But apart from Tomiyasu, the rest of the team was absolutely full, and we saw the beauty, the quality of this Arsenal side when they start in full gear. Chelsea were absolutely frustrated. We froze them. They became frozen, and I've never seen Arsenal freeze a big side like that. We froze Chelsea in the first 45 minutes of the first half, and I was like, okay, I think Chelsea have no way out. At halftime, it was 2-0. It was 2-0. Of course, the man himself, Gabriel Jesus, getting onto the score sheet. Beautiful goal set up by Granit Xhaka. I think that is what you love about Gabriel Jesus. He's always running, and he's very, very unpredictable. You do not know how he's going to be creating a chance, and how a chance is going to manifest for himself, or for him as a player. Because look, that chance he scored from Granit Xhaka, it was literally him keeping himself onside and running off the shoulder of Trevor Chalobah. And he gets through on goal. It's a nice chip. It's a beautiful goal. It's a very, very beautiful goal. Then the second goal, which I think was the goal of the game, Martin Odegaard. What a goal. Oh my God. Look, that was beautiful. Listen, so it was kind of a goal kick. It was a goal kick from Chelsea. I think Ben Mendy is becoming Eduardo Mendy, sorry, is becoming some kind of problem for Chelsea. So he takes the goal kick. They lose the ball halfway the line. Thomas Partey picks it up, plays it with Martin Odegaard. Odegaard plays it back to Partey, and Partey slides it into Gabriel Martinelli. And what Martinelli does very right is he just wastes a few seconds for Odegaard to make that run into the penalty area. And when he does, he just slots it into Odegaard's path. Odegaard finds it. He doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't overthink about it. He just places it into the bottom right corner. Beautiful goal. Absolute beautiful goal. Go to the Arsenal website. Watch the highlights. It's been absolutely magnificent. And the beauty about that first half is Arsenal controlled the game 100%. Chelsea did not have any time to think. They didn't have any time to act. Yes, they had a couple of good chances. I think Mason Mount hitting the wood, not really woodwork, but hitting the post was one of the reasons as why they didn't score in that first half. I also thought Raheem Sterling was a little bit electric for them. Christian Pulisic coming in the second half. I think it just gave them that kind of rhythm. But overall, in that game, Chelsea displayed a very, very embarrassing performance. And for me, it was courtesy of Arsenal's brilliance. It was courtesy of Arsenal better than them. Because, look, first and foremost, our defense was very, very good. And the reason is, look, I had this from the commentary, and I thought it was a very, very good point. Our midfield and our forwards are actually holding the ball better. We are keeping possession better, and that gives that just relieves a lot of pressure from our centre backs. That is just doing a lot of work in terms of relieving pressure and relieving the burnout from our centre backs. By the time you get to our centre backs, they are ready for you, and we saw that yesterday. The likes of William Saliba being very, very active. Just fresh. It's not a lot of work for them, and it is not a lot of time for them, being able to defend. It's always once in a while that our centre backs are going to be exposed, and I think I love that. You need to be holding the ball better. You need to be, always in possession if you're going to have your back line really stick together, and feel protected. And I think our backline is now doing better because it is protected. The forwards are keeping the ball better, and that midfield is picking up the ball a little bit better. But also the other reason as to why we did very well defensively is the fact that we were not defending in blocks. Actually, we were not setting up a midfield block or a low block. We were actually trying to press them high up the pitch. And Chelsea, in the first 45 minutes of the game, they were absolutely lost in that. You could try to reason with them, and you will understand they were nowhere that quality. They were not prepared for that. In the second half, I think Thomas Tuchel, as a clever manager, did what he was supposed to do. He spread the pitch, he stretched the pitch a little bit wider, and that gave Arsenal's, pressing a little bit. Arsenal's press a little bit hard. It made Arsenal's press a little bit weaker, and it made us, it made it hard for us to press Chelsea, because when you stretch the pitch a little bit wider, what it does is you can easily switch from one wing to the other. Arsenal did that very well in the first half with Gabriel Martinelli and Saka. So whenever we were releasing the ball, we were releasing it on the left-hand side of Gabriel Martinelli. But whenever Chelsea pressed us on that end, then we switched it to Bukayo Saka, and it was really very hard for them. So I think we pressed very well in the first half, making sure that Chelsea do not have those spaces to run to. Those pockets of space were not there. We closed down every pocket of space. And Chelsea, given the fact, because they have Jorginho, and you know what Jorginho does, his game is all about dominating and dominance, but there was nowhere. Conor Gallagher, we know the brilliance of him, but he needs those spaces to run into. He needs those quick combinations. He needs those passes to stick together for him to be a quality player. And we saw it at we've seen him at Crystal Palace. If you want him to be quality for you, you need to give him those spaces to run into, but also the passing combinations need to be working. Now, what Arsenal did in the first half, make sure that the passing combinations between Jorginho and Conor Gallagher are not actually working, and also make sure that Chelsea do not have a lot of time on the ball, and we did it very, very well, because there was the time when the only option they had was to go long, look for the runs of Callum Hudson-Odoi in the second half, Raheem Sterling in the first half, Mason Mount in the first half, and Kai Havertz. When you do that, you've actually won a game against the position-based side. The moment you force them to go long, right, and that happened in the first few minutes of the second half. You saw it. Chelsea absolutely took control over us, and we were forced to start going long, looking for those runs of Nuno Tavares, the runs of Gabriel Martinelli. The moment you're forced to go long, it means your game plan has been denied, and now you're trying to desperately find another way out. I think the pressing was absolutely on top of our game. We kept the intensity up, and I think that really disturbed Chelsea, because the intensity really was, in a way, we were pressing them very, very quickly, and the transition was also, our transitions were actually very quickly. So we invited them, we pressed them, they lost the ball, and before they thought about getting back in shape, we were already on them. For example, the first chance of that game, that is Gabriel Martinelli setting up Bukayo Saka. I think Saka's finishing is shit. I'm saying this, and I'll say it again, in the 6 things we learned from that game. Saka's finishing is absolute shit. He doesn't get his head up when he's finishing, and I don't understand why. Calm down. You're 1v1 against a goalkeeper. Calm down. Get your body straight, and just make sure that your head is facing goal. But there is a way Saka bends. I don't understand why he just wants to bend, and all the energy that he would have put on the ball, he puts into his body. I don't understand. But the transition is what I'm talking about. The intensity of the game, we kept it very, very high. Chelsea, by the time they thought about coming back into the game, it was absolutely over. Alexander Zinchenko as well, playing a very, very vital role in that one. He played as an inverse, as a left back, inverted full back, because we played kind of an elbow system where Ben White, Saliba, and Gabriel Magalhaes were playing in that back three. So that allowed Alexander Zinchenko to be a little bit part of the midfield. And I think it really helped out with Gabriel Martinelli, because it pushed Gabriel Martinelli inside. It helped Martinelli to cut inside all the time, as Zini was utilizing the full width of the pitch. The quick transitions I've actually talked about. Saliba had a very, very good game. The passing combinations are actually starting to work. I've seen that with Odegaard and Saka last campaign, but it's not all about that now. It's all about Gabriel Jesus and Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus and Saka, Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli. It's gonna take some time for these passing competitions to come around, but I think against Chelsea, what we saw a confident Arsenal side that was trying to play one pass, one touch football, and I think that is what City want and City do. Whenever you press them, they have that ability to play one touch football, and what that does, it gives you a lot of it saves you some extra minutes to get first and foremost to beat the press of your opponent, but also as you beat their press, as you as you get past their press, you can transition very, very quickly. Partey again playing a very key role now in this team. When we start getting better and better, you will start, the role of Partey will start becoming greater, but diminishing in our own eyes. I don't know whether that makes a lot of sense. He will be playing a very vital part for us, but the fans will feel like Thomas Partey not playing a very crucial part, just like Rodri at Manchester City, unless you have a very, very crucial eye. But for those passing combinations to work, for those quick transitions to work, You need Thomas Partey to be on top of his game. And I'm going to tell you, lads, it was amazing. Arsenal for Chelsea now. You can't wish for anything better than that. Arsenal could win 6 out of 6 of their preseason games. And what else do I want? That is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's speak about this pick later in the player ratings, and also 6 things we learned, Mikel Arteta's press conference, and the transfer news shows, all coming up for you on Cossy's here on Cossy's Arsenal podcast.